We're going live. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no way to know if we are live. I mean, I'm live. It says we're live. But are we live? Yeah, dude. Oh my goodness. It's live. All right, it's happening. It's 8 o'clock on the dot. We're going to hang out for a minute or two. Let some people trickle on in before we kick this thing off. What's up, Alex? What's up, Jake? Joining live in the Discord. That's one way you can connect. The other is on YouTube. What's up, Alex, in the chat? I see you double dipping. You can't catch it live. It's on the site. A lot going on. There's people on strike right now. Right now. Next week's gonna be wild. Did you guys see? We'll cover it in a little more detail, but it's button up time in Rayleigh's. Well, I mean, you got your our eyes and ears in Save Mart now, right? Oh man, that's that's sick. Mm. Something changed recently. We'll give another minute or two and see if anybody else trickles in. Everything seems to be working, so that's good. I will start. Oh, actually, I don't even need to do that. I don't have to start recording. That's awesome. I'll just be able to kick it off. Jenica's gonna be joining soon. Gina made it in. She said she was at a concert, but she likes to do both. Okay. That's hilarious, dude. We're building two kinds of solidarity tonight. Ayo. That was actually pretty good. Oh man. All right. I think we'll kick this thing off, dude. I'm glad you guys joined in the Discord because we got questions. I know you guys went to the Labor Notes conference, but there's also some other questions about just everything that's going on, and I'm just curious what people think about some stuff. So be prepared. What's that? Oh, it's on YouTube also. So it is live there as well, and I will try to keep an eye on the chat there and interact. I missed like some people that were chatting in there last time on the first one that we did live. But yeah, it's going now. So I actually just got like a notification on my phone because I'm subscribed. Hit the bell. All right. Speaking of bell, there's a dog chewing on a ball back there. If you hear a squeak. Hey, so you actually take that? Oh, you're awesome. That's so funny. He just parked right behind me and was like, "Arrgh, squeak, squeak." All right, you guys ready to rock and roll, dude? I gotta figure out a way. I'm gonna have to bounce back and forth between the chat and in here, but just remember, speak up whenever. Speak up whenever if I can't see like something going in the chat. Does anybody have anything before we start? Before we Oh, you can. I see Jake's in there, and I see Alex, and like people are like, there's. I can see the chat. Just, but yeah, if something's floating in there, and you guys happen to notice it, don't hesitate to. I would rather somebody say, "Hey, so and so saying this," but then miss it. You know what I mean? That kind of defeats the purpose. Oh, what is up? Oh, I was like, oh my god, go put the fire out. Leave. What are you doing? You guys are so dedicated. You're like, yeah, I'm in surgery right now. I'm having intestinal surgery, but I came, and you're like, oh, I just here we go. You never want it to kick off to the season to be in your neighborhood. You know what I mean? All right, let's kick this thing off. Are you guys ready for that? Anybody got anything else they want to add? It's live. It's actually live right now. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna pop live at 8, and it's just going. So it is what it is. And last time I had like 30 minutes of dead air at the beginning, so that was a shame on me. But I didn't realize that I was like actually creating a video at that time. But we're learning. We're learning live together. Uh, yeah, if you want to watch, you can go back to the beginning and see what that was like. All right. Let's kick this thing off, ladies and gentlemen of the Union of UFCW Local 8. This is At What Cost Discord meeting, our bi-weekly meeting. It is the 18th of June. This is our 17th bi-weekly Discord meeting. Can you believe that? 17. Uh, Also, little Easter egg. Tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of the first person that wasn't me joining the Discord server, which is kind of crazy. It's insane. It's insane that it's been a year. I actually can't believe that a year has gone by already. But we did it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But really, we've got a lot going on. Contract negotiations. The landscape there is heating up. It's like on fire. There is negotiations happening all around us. That's funny that we were just talking about wildfire season. It's like contract fire season. All around us right now. It's grocery gang summer. We are at a very exciting time to be getting involved in your union. Like this is there's so much action going on in the UFCW all over the place. If you thought being in a union was boring, this is a time to see that it's not. It's actually pretty crazy. Um, so check it out. If this is your first time being at an At What Cost meeting, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching on YouTube later on. We're happy to have you here. We're At What Cost AWC, a group of UFCW Local 8 rank and filers that are organizing around a stronger, more transparent local that uses our membership in decision making and in leadership in order to truly represent us. And we've been working on that, like I said, for a year through the Discord server in a lot of different ways. And I'm going to continue working on it until we see positive change in our local. And part of that is with connecting through our social media accounts. So we'd like to run through those just real quick and let everybody kind of know what's going on with that. Our Discord server gained another 3 members. We're creeping up basically like 3-4 members every couple meetings, so hi to everybody that's joined recently. Instagram's up 7. Jake, you've been like out there just hitting it on the Instagram. It's been cool. I see you posting, interacting. It's actually like, because I started getting on Instagram more, there's a lot of union activity on Instagram, which we'll check out here in a little bit. But having the At What Cost page like be interacting with all of the other local stuff has allowed me to not miss out on it. So that's been pretty cool. 7 new members there. We're up to 119. We got 2 new people in Facebook. Welcome, Facebook people. 79 members in Facebook. 10 new subscribers on the YouTube channel. Hello, 10 new people. 65 subscribers there. And all of those memberships and subscriptions to all of those different At What Cost channels just allow people to kind of stay in contact or stay in touch with everything that we've got going on as a union reform group. And that's a really important part of it, because without people like doing stuff, we won't actually ever be able to make change. If you think, or if anybody thinks, or if union members out there think that the solution to the problem of a service model union is to replace it with another service model union, that's not going to work. Something different has to come. It's not a personnel change. It's not a different human being that needs to be in the same old seat of power or in this same old structure of a union. It's a new union structure that needs to be put in place that gives the power of that union back to the membership. So if you're not willing to take that power, which, like it's cliche, comes with a lot of responsibility, that's going to be a problem. Like your destiny, your future, your current situation, we all do have some personal accountability in that situation, in that we are union members, we are rank and file UFCW members, and we are not actively leveraging the strength of that to the best of our ability, or to the maximum capability that we could if we were a more militant and fighting union local. There are other locals out there that are working on that, and that's a big part of what At What Cost wants to do here in Local 8, is become that. And when you talk to members out there on the shop floor, the reality of the situation is that everybody feels the same way. Everybody is feeling the same way, the same pressure out there, and the same lack of support. And if we're not going to do something to try to take control of that, then we're never going to be able to fix it. So get connected any way you want. Find any one of these social media pages. The Discord servers, where it's popping off 24/7. That's where you see people in the hall right now who are able to speak live at the meetings. And just a reminder that these are wide open meetings. You see me talking a lot on the YouTube channels and stuff, and that's just because like I have a lot to say, and I have the ability to press record and like start talking. And if anybody else ever wanted to do that and was doing that, then all those videos would be up too. This is a completely open group. There's nobody in charge of it. There's no leadership structure here. It's not a hierarchy like people are used to experiencing. We are all doing things that we feel are helping contribute to this goal that we have, which is, like I said, building a stronger UFCW Local 8 that is a result of our active participation. So thank you to everybody that's participating in all those channels that I mentioned. If you have a social media channel or something that you use that isn't mentioned here, and you want to make an At What Cost group, go ahead. Anybody can do it. So does anybody have anything they want to add? Anything going on in any of those social media groups or channels that anybody wants to mention before we move on to the next topic on the agenda here? All right, here we go. Bread and butter. Contract negotiation updates. There's a lot going on in our area. What's up? Was that for me? Hello, who's this? I'm just joking. There's a lot going on in our specific little pod right here of Local 8, Local 5, and Local 648. With negotiations, unfortunately, we don't have any transparency into that. So what we get is what we can get access to. The most recent update that we got from our local, if you aren't signed up to get the text messages, you should do that. You can send a text, send UFCW 8 to 888 724 5088, and you will get the UFCW text message updates about these contract negotiation updates. So a lot of people ask me what's going on with the contract, and I ask them if they're getting this text. And the answer to that is no, I'm not getting that text. And that means obviously that they're missing out on information that's being put out by the UFCW. And if we are saying that the UFCW is not communicating on a level that we feel is adequate, but we also aren't taking the steps to access the information that they are making available, then they have a valid criticism against us in not being legitimate in our complaint. If we cared, we would have done XYZ, is what they're going to say. And so, real quick, send this text message if you're not getting the updates. Don't worry if you don't, we're still doing it here, but I really, as I think about like everything we do to try to make participating in the union as easy as possible for everybody, my fear is that we become this crutch that everybody gets to just lean on to do the same thing that they feel like the UFCW Local 8 isn't doing for them. And that's cool and all, feels good, whatever, but it's not going to, the secret sauce is people. The secret sauce is all of us moving in the same direction. So, if for some reason you don't get this crucial piece of information, and so you don't know what's going on, and that's, not your fault, that's somebody else's fault because they didn't deliver it to you on a silver platter. That's what needs to kind of get reversed in our mindset. And that's a mindset change for us because we've been conditioned. Like our union will literally tell us, like, just chill out, just sit down, just don't worry, don't ask questions, don't listen to rumors, don't get brainwashed. We will bring you the information you need when you need it. If we're not talking to you, it's because there's nothing to say. And I disagree with that. And I personally, think that that's part of, what I just talked about in terms of making us like, really, really far away from where we need to be as a collective mindset to move this needle in a really aggressive direction. And I'm talking about that because these contract negotiations are like they're heating up and they're dragging on, and people are striking actively right now. We've got people that are out on strike in Local 5 currently, or in Local 7, I'm sorry, in Colorado right now. We have people in Southern California that are picketing, practice picketing, and getting ready to rally before their bargaining dates at the end of this month, the 24th, 5th, and 6th. Seattle might have got a contract. They signed a tentative agreement. We're going to go over this a little bit more, but there's a lot that's going on around us, and our fate here in Local 8 is it's a part of that. It's tied into that, and we know so much about what's going on around us and nothing about what's going on here within Local 8. The information that we got was that they bargained. They still have not made any wage proposals regarding the top pay scale, which people obviously care about. There's a grievance that's been filed regarding contribution to the Lisa account, which Brother Tony's been on top of like helping us get information on, but they're not paying into the Lisa retirement account. That hasn't been settled. And that's it. That's their update. They don't even have future bargaining dates at this point in the conversation. So we, in our situation here, as rank and file members who have access to only this one piece of information here, this bulletin, we don't know what's going on, and we also don't know what's going to happen. There's strikes happening all around us. We haven't taken a strike authorization vote. We have some more information, which I'll talk about here in a second, but that's not because our local gave it to us. That's because we had to go find it. And at some point that might end too. So I'll talk about that in just a second, but I want to point to the fact that like we are in a pretty close to strike situation. Meaning, also like the calendar guys, like there's a strategic element to this. The 4th of July is a couple weeks away. That's why Denver's on strike right now. That's why Colorado went out. It's going into the 4th of July. It's going to hurt them. That probably caused the companies to get scared and settle with Seattle. Whether or not the members take that deal is going to determine whether or not Washington goes out on strike for the 4th of July. Southern California is already practice picketing. They're going to rally. That's going to determine whether they go on strike. And here we are in the middle of that situation. And this is this is all going to tie together as we move through this, but it's crazy. We don't have the information that we need to be the kind of union members that we need to be to stand with our siblings on this entire western United States and be a part of what's happening. And that worries me, that, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. um, but basically our contract update is that the union's kind of mad, and they're not giving us any more information on the Lisa, so they talked about that too. And then they referenced what's going on in Southern California with the authorization of the ULP strike vote. Rayleigh's brothers and sisters also got an update. They got it yesterday, and they got two paragraphs. And one of the paragraphs was like, hey, you guys are encouraged to wear your buttons, get visible. This is the first time, or maybe it's the second, but I think it's the first time that the button campaign has officially been talked about. Maybe it's the second, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're in the same boat as us. Like Jake, you're in here right now. You're from Rayleigh's. What Look at what's going on all around us right now. Does it feel like our locals like sleeping at the wheel? And in allegedly, we're not in the game because we're also not in the room, right? So we don't even know, and we have no way to know. And we've asked politely for access to negotiating, and we've been told no. And that's just the way it is. So here we are left to speculate while like serious like action is occurring like all around us, like straight up. And I don't know, man. It feels a certain kind of way, and that's not. It's something that I would like for us as a group to be more vocal about as we move into future contracts. Like our brothers and sisters in Save Mart. Alex is here from Save Mart tonight. They're going to be coming up on a contract in a couple years, and we should be in that room. And by we, I mean the rank and file members of the UFCW Local 8. In that situation, it would be a bargaining committee made up of Save Mart members that were, probably appointed, but ideally also elected, um, to represent the workers. And that's a goal that we should be working towards, because this is a definitely a different situation than what we'll be talking about here in a second. Um, but Rayleigh's, same deal. They're not really talking much. They have bargaining scheduled for July, so at least they know like when their next date is. But beyond that, it's just button up. And this has all been kind of presented as if like they're not in the same stage as we are. Like maybe their contract didn't expire at the same time as ours, but it did. Newsflash, right? The update that came out was actually kind of a shock to us because we didn't expect it, but it was announcing that both of our contracts had expired. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, Jake, but I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. So we're in the same boat, and here's the language that we get on those two. So that's a bit unfortunate to see that, but luckily, we have access to Local Five's calls. They have monthly meetings, not quarterly meetings, and they do those meetings on Zoom. They also do those meetings at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. So if you can't make the first one, you can attend the second one. And I've been lucky enough to be able to attend those meetings as a silent participant. And that's where we've been getting some pretty good information. John Fromm, the president of Local 5, leads those meetings, and he was pretty upset. He said some pretty aggressive things about Safeway, specifically not bargaining in good faith, not showing up to the meetings, not the lead negotiator, not being there on numerous occasions, so them being unable to move forward on specific proposals because of that. And he mentioned that the lawyers for the UFCW were looking over the details and were preparing to finalize potential ULP charges. That they were basically getting their ducks in the row for a potential ULP charge. But as of the meeting, nothing had been filed, and there was no scheduled ULP strike vote. But that was the first time that we've heard mention of ULP. And the only other piece of information we have for the people that are here that went to the general membership meeting can confirm this, but John Heisey did say that we would most likely be participating with Local 5 in the event of like a ULP charge, that would also apply to us. So keep that in mind because, like I said, we're at like a pinch point with the holiday, with the 4th of July, and that's a huge leverage point, and we'll talk about it as we kind of move through this call. But the 4th of July is a major barbecue, beer, soda, chips, food holiday. It's a major food and alcohol holiday. And so striking on the 4th of July is a huge blow to corporate summer sales. And so that's kind of what's going on. So we're in this pinch window with Local 8 where we may find out that they filed ULP charges and have ULP strike votes happening within a matter of days. I've never seen Local 8 execute anything that fast, and that's part of what concerns me. So that's kind of what's going on with the situation in our contract. It's crazy to see everybody else moving forward so aggressively, and like I said, us kind of sleeping on it. Especially with Raley's being super sleepy. They've got time in July for bargaining, so it's going to be quiet for the rest of the month. With that being said, there's zero chance of any activity coming out of the Raley's workers who are, like I said, in the same expired contract situation as we are. Should be a part of all of what's going on right now. There's no reason that they shouldn't be a part of Grocery Workers Rising and everything else. And if Local 8 was on it and a part of it, they would be, obviously, right? We're expired together. This is ah. We deserve so much better for ourselves, and we can get it if we go get it. If we go get it, we can get it. And I think we're getting really really close. So that's exciting. But it just hurts to see, like I feel for my Rayleigh siblings who, I don't know, they might miss out on this action, and hopefully the company does the right thing and just follows suit. And you know, they don't want no smoke. If we if we if we pull off something good with this coalition, then hopefully Rayleigh's just falls in line, and all the other grocers fall in line, and just pay the people what they deserve. But I would hate to see that not be the case. Safeway's got bargaining dates on the 24th and 25th, and those are significant dates. That's Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and we will kind of talk about why those are a big deal as we move through the rest of these attendees. But before I move away from contract negotiations, does anybody have anything they want to add to that, or any questions that they want to ask about anything related to negotiations? 100%. So what we need to start doing as members of At What Cost, as people who are watching this YouTube video, as people who are interacting with this, is we need to provide the resources to make that phone call or send that email. And so that way it's not just me, like it doesn't bubble up to like a person who then goes to the rep and says, everybody's pissed, right? Everybody's pissed needs to be, I got 100 phone calls. That needs to be the action that we take when they say, why haven't we taken a strike vote? Well, the answer is because we haven't filed ULP charges as far as as far as we know. And from what John said, it's a process that we're just now doing, which is something that brings up another question, because we are all bargaining together. If the companies are doing the same thing to us that they're doing to the Southern California locals, specifically the Vaughn stores that are in UFCW Local 8 that did take a ULP strike vote, if they're doing the same thing to them as they're doing to us, why haven't we filed ULP charges? Why aren't we filing ULP charges? And then you can go one step even lower if you want and ask, why don't we even know what ULP charges are? you know, who in the store even knows to be looking for those things? So now it's on the rep to catch that kind of stuff, or on the bargaining committee to experience it within the bargaining room, which is what we are accusing the company of doing. They're not bargaining in good faith when they refuse to talk about major proposals. They're not bargaining in good faith when they cancel over half of the bargaining sessions. So that's that I don't know, but that's the unfair labor practices that I see occurring from just the information that we have. I'm sure in some stores. Yeah, go ahead. So if what you're asking is if, like, if Local 5 filed unfair labor practice charges and authorized a strike vote, would that apply to us or not, or would we have to take our own? We would have. Sorry, go ahead. 1,000%. Yes. Yes, like we're there, like they're in the room experiencing it as well. So yes, and that's a great question, and that's to what I was trying to find out from them when we were at the general membership meeting was, does the actions that they're taking also apply to us because we're in the room with them? And unfortunately, what he said was most likely. And so what that doesn't tell us is anything definitively, but the reality of the situation is that if it is a ULP charge for them, it is also a ULP charge for us. If the requirement is to file those two things separately per local and ours isn't, then we have a problem, right? That's where you block me in, is where you're going with that, which is, if they're experiencing it, we're experiencing it. If they're doing something, why aren't we doing something? And that's a great question. That's what people are asking Jenica. And the reality is that not only is that what they're doing to us here in Local 8, but they're doing it to workers all across the country. It's the same thing they're doing to all of us. And you see people currently out on strike. So that's not an impossibility. Do not let your rep tell you. Do not let Jacques Laval tell you. Do not let anybody from Safeway tell you that we couldn't have already been out on strike and that they're lucky we're not. They are lucky that we're not out on strike, because we have every right to be in those streets right now. And for some reason, everybody but Kim Cordova is doing them a favor. That's what's up. That's what's going on. We've been talking about this 6 months before our contract expired. What's the point of an expiration date if you're not going to do something the day after it expires? What's the point? And I still stand by that. So that's a great question. Jenica, to answer your question, we need to call the rep and say, why aren't we on strike? Why aren't we taking a strike vote? How about that? Why aren't we taking a strike vote? We all need to do it. We need to email info@ufcw8.org and just ask the question. I'm pretty sure they filter me to spam because they have not replied to my last 5 emails. Like, straight up. The only thing that happens after I email them is Mike brings another rep from a different city. And we'll talk a little bit more as we move down this, but there's something really funny happening with our QR code. But um, good questions. The answer is to get active and to say something and to be really loud. And if we all need to come together and we need to go stand in front of your store and we need to, like, throw a strike fist up and take a picture and we need to email that to Local 8, let's do it. Like, let's come up with a creative way to use, at what cost, this group of people that want to make change, to leverage that in these people and pull them, because they want change too. That's why they're coming to us for answers and with these questions. The problem is we're so conditioned to do that, to go find mom and dad and see if they can solve the boo boo for us, that we need to like really start thinking about, okay, like if what if you had the power to solve this, what would you do? And it's a mind shift that we all had to really go through, and a lot of us didn't even, you couldn't even get to that point without being able to see other brothers and sisters out there doing it, to even know it was possible. Dude, it was like this, like this red pill moment where you're coming out of the matrix and you're just like, oh my god, dude, people have free will. That's unbelievable. And that's that we're there. We What we have built here, and it's, Jake talks about this a lot, is something to be proud of, because we've built a place people can come to. Let's make sure that that's like a fertilizer, a ground where we're not just like gobbling it up and being like, oh yeah, here we are, we're the answer wizards, throw any question, don't participate in anything, but click here if you have a question, ask it, get your answer, and then disappear. That's not what we're trying to create. You know what I mean? It's not put a quarter in the union solidarity machine, get a response from somebody that cares, and then go away. The problem with that, and I don't mean that to like be a personal attack on anybody, but the problem with that is that doesn't win. That doesn't win a strike vote. That doesn't win a holdout on a strike, an economic strike. That doesn't win a strong contract. That doesn't win a union election. If you want to change the structure of your union and the people in power won't help you, those that that's the thing we're trying to move away from. So sorry to go off on a tangent there, but the answer is to get active. And I think I want to come and like stop by your store and like let's talk about it and let's talk to the people and let's see. Like I saw a picture from Indiana. They all just went to the front of their store and held up their signs, and there was like 12 people out in front of the store that just did it. It took 2 seconds. Look at that picture. Let's go plug your entryway, stand in front of it, throw a strike fist up, and then send that to UFCW and be like, "Where's our ULP? This is ridiculous." That sounds fun. That sounds like fun unionism. Does that answer your question? Probably. Okay. Did I get your question right the second time, Gina? Sorry about that. My bad. Okay. Real quick, I'm gonna throw a question back your guys' way. Here in a second. So get on your toes. But if nobody's got anything else about the contract negotiations, we're gonna move on to what I've kind of been dancing around this whole time, which is strike threat summer. The grocery gang is hitting hard. Local Seven's out. They're on the streets. Actually, today, just today, 12 more stores authorized ULP strikes. So I want you to pay attention to that, because the first day, on Sunday, they took 4 stores out in 3 cities. What they do over there is they have ULP strike votes store by store by store. So every single individual store authorizes the ULP strike. Once they've done that, they're in a batch of stores that are eligible to go on strike at any time, unannounced. But it's not all the stores. They only did these stores. So it creates this air of uncertainty where you don't know what's going on. Today, 12 more stores authorized ULP strikes. So currently, they've been rolling out more and more stores each day that are on strike, and a whole new batch of 12 stores just got added to the list of stores that can go on strike. On the rank and file side of that equation, it feels a little weird, especially if you're like in the wings, like waiting. If you're like one of those like strike hawks, like Jake, and you want to go do some like anarchy. If you're like just like back there, like let's go, baby, you don't understand why you're not calling just everybody out at the same time. But realize like what's going on backstage in these corporations as they're trying to decide how much money to spend on scabs, whether to make all their managers work overtime, like what are they going to do to keep store, and not knowing what's going to happen. The uncertainty is in your favor. And it's not to inflict maximum pain, it's to, that uncertainty becomes leverage in your bargaining, in your negotiating a return to work with fair living wages. So that's what's going on over there. It's pretty exciting. They have workers out on the street right now, and their Instagram page. If you guys don't follow UFCW Local 7, I highly recommend it. Jake keyed me into this, dude, because he's always interacting with it. But I had no idea. But this is where it's at. Like this is where they're posting like all their stuff. Everything comes here, Dude, there's like a song. There's a song here. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but you guys gotta like listen to this thing. Like somebody that works there made a like full on like rap music. Okay, I don't wanna get copyright strike for this Grammy winning hit. But dude, they made like a UFCW, we're going on strike, we're sick of it, like song with a fully animated video. One of the rank and file members did. And they've got pictures on the picket line, they got videos, they show all their store like strike vote results on there. Um it's popping, dude. This is great because you see like what's going on like out there. Here's it's worker solidarity. I have no idea if UFCW Local 8 social media comes alive when they go on strike. We don't know that because nothing ever happens like that around here. But if it all of a sudden does, like that's great. That'd be really cool to see. But check out Local 7 on Instagram. It's a great way. And if you have it on your phone and you've got people that are kind of asking questions about like what's going on, talking about like not getting red pilled and staying in the matrix, like you that show it kind of pops that bubble. It's like look at what these people are doing. They're out doing it. And remember, they're in the same situation as don't let the rep, don't let Jock, don't let nobody tell you that oh that's the different local. That's somebody they got the other things. No, we've been watching this the whole time, like freaking Eagles, dude. We've been on this thing. Talk about it every 2 weeks. Go back and watch. That's not what's going on. They're doing the same thing to all of us. So they're just ahead of the game. We're behind the ball. That's what's going on. Right up above us in the Pacific Northwest. So they go out on strike on Sunday. Last just Sunday we just had, and they've been building it up and building it up. The day that they go out on strike, UFCW 3000 announces that they've signed a tentative agreement with their master contract. So they have a in their area they have what's called a master contract, which applies to all of the workers in the industry for for Kroger and Albertsons. It's not like local by local or company. They get a master contract. So they signed a tentative agreement. The bargaining committee did, and now it's up to the members to decide if they're going to take that contract. Did the companies get scared because Local 7 went out and actually did the thing and actually went on strike going into the 4th of July? And the last thing you want is Seattle to get riled up because if you think Colorado's loud, wait till you see Seattle go out. I don't know, but that's what coordinated bargaining can do. That's what the national contract, like not just a master contract like they have in Seattle, Washington, Puget Sound area, but an actual national contract. If we could all actually get coordinated, look how quickly they cave, right? This isn't about crashing the grocery industry and taking away everybody's food. It's about getting our fair share because they're aware of the fact that we are united. That's really all it takes. And they might test it. They might test it, but they can't break it if we actually build it. And so that's what we're trying to do. And if we look up to 3,000, we can see the results. Southern California, they've been practice picketing all week. Monday, practice picket. Tuesday, practice picket. Wednesday, practice picket. Two more practice pickets coming each day at a different store. So the whole local, all the grocery workers, rising people, they're all going to the same store and they're doing a practice picket there. And practice picketing is legal. It's a way to prepare for a strike. You're exercising your First Amendment rights and your federally protected rights as a worker, and you're not on strike. You're not actually on strike, and your signage can't say anything about that. All the signage clearly says practice picketing. We are practice picketing, just practicing. And that makes it a fully legal activity. I remember asking for us to do this, and it was months ago, like when our contract expired. Maybe one day we will. But SoCal's doing it. They're actively practice picketing, and then at the end of their practice picket stretch, they're having a huge rally, and that rally is right before they have their 3 days of bargaining on the 25th, 6th, and 7th. And those 3 days of bargaining are obviously the last 3 days before you get into the 4th of July sales week. So depending on how that bargaining goes, I think there's a really good chance that you see Southern California make a move in a direction on a ULP strike, calling a ULP strike in SoCal. And that would be massive. Remember, that's a 5 local coalition that's part of that, and that would absolutely kneecap Albertsons, Kroger, and Stater Brothers, the 3 companies that they're fighting down in Southern California. Again, that's a tight window. We basically, if we were to join that, we would have to pull off a ULP strike authorization uh, next week. And with our bargaining on the 24th and 25th, that would have to happen on the other side of bargaining, most likely, as a result of something that they would say occurred during that bargaining, which is why obviously we haven't taken our vote yet. Um, so that, who knows? We could take a strike authorization vote here in Local 8 on 30th, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and be out on the 3rd. That's how serious it could get, and that's how fast it could happen. No inside information saying that that's what's going to happen. So that's obviously it's speculative in the sense that I don't know that is going to happen, but in my body and soul, it should. It absolutely should, and so I'm trying to will it into existence through communicating with my rep and sending emails that aren't getting responded to. And I highly encourage everybody else does the same. info@ufcw8.org, and your phone number to your rep. If they don't respond to you and if they keep not interacting with us, that's a failure to represent, and that's a different situation. So game on, baby. We have Local 700 in Indiana. They this is kind of tied to what's going on with 3000. Their bargaining committee came out with a tentative agreement and recommended the contract be voted yes. And the members looked at it, and it was an absolute garbage. It's the contract that Save Mart basically has been trying to pass, but even a little worse. It was $2.25 in raises across the entire life of the contract, including a 75-cent raise over 2 years in the middle of the contract, which is insane. The minimum wage in Indiana is $7.25. Um, so those workers, they banded together very quickly with the Essential Workers for Democracy. Actually, pulled off some pretty amazing organizing work, and they've downvoted their contract 74% no. So with that, they authorized a strike, an economic strike, and sent their bargaining committee back to negotiations. Now, they were freaking out that they were going to have to go on a strike because their president put a bulletin out that was basically doom and gloom wording, saying that you've authorized this strike, and just so you know, as punishment, it could happen at any time, and if they could fire you and replace you, all the scary things about the economic strike, except for your union was kind of throw it in your face after you turned down their contract. And they called their local president. In fact, he actually responds to them if they message him on Facebook. He responds. I've seen the interactions back and forth. I've heard them dictated, and uh, they he call. It blows my mind, and it's actually the reason why I'm calling Jacques Laval is because I didn't know you could call him and talk to him like that. So I'm going to do that because I wanted to speak to him. I was waiting for him to come to me, but I was being silly this whole time. I'm just going to go to him. But they actually called and they said, we want open bargaining. You need to hold a meeting and you need to hear us because we want open negotiations and we want to be in the room. That is insane. Can you believe that? The courage? Dude, brother Eli is a guy who been kind of spearheading that activity there. But he's just cool as a cucumber, just hitting it. And the president's responding, surprisingly. Um, I was just on a call that they had. I think it was probably their third or fourth call since they started doing this organizing work, and there was 50 people on it from Indiana, UFCW 700. What's up, brothers and sisters? If you happen to watch this, by the way, because we've been sharing stuff back and forth since we met. 50 people on that call, so those people are fired up. And the reason is because they have this super heightened activity that's occurring right now. It's like a Tinder moment, right? Like a spark on it, and it's just ripe for organizing. And so we need to recognize for us here in Local 8 that we are also in that moment, and we need to use it to make sure that we organize to build up that strength. Seeing those 50 people on that call, I was like, dude, this is crazy, because we've been grinding away. Like you said, like I said earlier, the Discord's been going for a year. We've had Zoom calls with the Essential Workers for Democracy, 50 people. Holy moly. And they were talking, like they went through the store list in Indiana and they found a point of contact at every store. There was 7 stores on the entire list in Local 700 that somebody on the call didn't know somebody at. And what they did was went through each store and said, okay, I'm going to go talk to that person and make this connection. And so it's really, really inspiring to see what they're doing. They're doing really, really good, strong organizing work. And the result of that is that they've been able to do things like pull a bunch of people out into the front of the store to take a picture holding signs. They've all got these, they're called car signs because they would be like the size that would go in your car window. And they're all like, they got them from the essential workers, but they're like specifically like, we voted down our contract. Kroger needs to respect us. Very, very cool. Situation going on over in 700, but that's a right to work state. Not everybody in that union, in that store, even has to join the union. It's optional. And look at what they're doing. So shout out to them. Very inspiring to see. And like I said, this thing, if you're not watching it from the bird's eye view like we are here at What Cost, it's a wildfire. And the crazy thing about it is, once you realize that you're looking at it from the same perspective that the companies are looking at it from, and the union, like on the international scale, like the union is looking at it from, there's starts to be a lot of accountability in the way that, like, it doesn't, why it doesn't happen on this scale like this. I don't think anybody's ever seen this, and people can correct me if I'm wrong. Historians can tell me if I'm wrong, but this is the closest thing to like a Teamsters UPS national bargaining, seeing all of this happening like this. It's pretty awesome, and the media is noticing it too. They've started writing articles. Look up UFCW strike, look up grocery strike, just Google search it, and you'll see people are starting to talk about it all over the place. And that's really good too, because what that builds is community support. I don't know if you guys remember when I went on that local Poke the Hornet's Nest radio show here in town. They were very surprised to find out that we don't make living wages in the grocery industry anymore. And so when you're looking for support from your community, that's an important thing that needs to come across to them, is that we're not fighting for mansions. At this point, we're not even fighting for the middle class. We're just fighting for a living wage, for respect for the work that we're doing, and we'll build from there. So really cool to see the media jumping on that. It's insane. This is a crazy summer. Somebody said at work today that they think that these negotiations are going to go on for a year potentially. There is no way. There is no way with this much activity that this drags on for a year. But I understand why someone who's worked in Local 8 for their entire career would think that that's totally possible. But there is way too much smoke right now. And to your point there, Jenica, like, I hope our locals got some tricks up its sleeve, and they were just keeping quiet because they knew that we here would be running our mouths about it and let the cat out of the bag. But at the same time, like, we're not doing that. Like, we're not their pawns for that type of a game, and they could trust us to keep a secret if that's what was up. That is so crazy. But yeah, I hope our locals ready to. That's it for what's going on with the grocery strike summer. It's popping off. We're gonna move on to the next section here, but before I do, anybody have any questions about that? And if not, I have a question, which some people in here may have experienced strikes, some may have not. But what do you guys think about everything I just mentioned, with everything that's going on with the UFCW around us, and also with how we're approaching everything? I agree 1,000%. Yeah. Yeah. I agree 1,000%. Um, but it is it's tough, dude. Because yeah, you understand. Like we feel very empowered because we're in this very active role, but it wasn't that long ago that it's not like we can't remember like feeling like hopelessness like that. That there's like I have all these questions and no answers. And honestly, one of my unresponded to emails is like very politely requesting some more clarity on how strike pay works in our local so that we can be prepared if something happens. And the response was silence. So cool. Other than my rep telling me that there's too many variables and there's a whole bunch of different committees and councils that have to approve it, so there's no way to tell me that the answer to that. And I'm like, cool. And if you want to see that that's not the way it has to be, you can go look at our last meeting where we went through the strike pay structures of these locals that aren't even on strike yet. We talked about Seattle's 3,000 strike pay, and we talked about 770 strike pay. So there's examples out there we could know too. And if it's because they didn't talk to all the committees that were supposed to talk to by the time they were supposed to talk to them, like I said earlier, my contract has an expiration date, and as far as I'm concerned, both of you have failed the workers. So shame on you both. And oh, actually, you want to know something crazy? In what when Local 700, when Eli was asking the local president why they can't do open bargaining, he responded and he said the reason is because before we go into bargaining, these committees meet, and the committees they go over all of these rules and preconditions that they agree to before they actually start bargaining. And closed bargaining's always just been one of the things. And he just turned around and said, "So you mean to tell me that you agree to not letting your members into the room as a union on negotiating?" And I thought that was just a great response, right? Because like, what are you talking about, right? So shout out to Eli. I just remembered that. And before I move on, I don't want to just show like I forgot to mention that the end of next week being so important. The other thing that's happening is Seattle is they got their vote dates for their contract. So while SoCal is doing their last 3 days of bargaining, while Safeway is doing 2 days of bargaining, while Colorado is actively on strike, Seattle will be either accepting or rejecting their new contract. And they're still waiting for the details on that contract, but there's some weird stuff in there, like this reference here to first of its kind staffing language. This thing that kind of scares me that says strong journey wage increases. What's up, brother Tony? I see you, man. Hello. Health and pension funding with no cuts is good, obviously. Um, but they have some stuff down here squaring up for general merchandise workers a 5-year path to wage parity with grocery workers. That's interesting. Training up, a major investment in a produce apprenticeship program. and building up a pathway to hundreds more Kroger workers in our union in Washington and northern Idaho. So this like up thing here, I'm interested to see details on that. That reads like marketing, but getting GM workers to grocery worker wages is pretty great, obviously, for GM workers. Training for everybody is good. And then if building up is actually staffing, that's cool. But if you're talking about your local adding hundreds of workers, that's like what, two per store? I mean, we'll take it, right? But interesting. So waiting on the details for that contract vote, but they do have their dates to ratify it. And another cool thing is each day they've got dual locations and dual time. They've got two times. So they're going. There's a morning and an afternoon at each location. It's like a 4 hour window. It looks like, and two locations each day. So really, really cool, flexible voting system there for their ratification. And good luck to them. Anybody from 3,000 that's listening. Uh, we hope that if it's a good contract, you guys take it, and that's the other thing. You guys got to realize, like, if they take this contract, that's probably like that. The dominoes then start falling towards that contract for the rest of us, if that's the way this is going to play out. So it might be killer. We'll see. We'll see. But that's it on the grocery strike summer. Moving on, next item in the agenda. We had Labor Notes Troublemaker School in Oakland. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but we did have Jake, Alex, and Oliver. They got to go, and shout out to them for making the trip over to Oakland. It's awesome that At What Cost was there and representing for the UFCW Local 8, and the Troublemaker School it's workshops that like what we've been doing with the essential workers. It's like organizing workshops to help make us a stronger individual active union members. And I want to throw it over to Alex. And Alex, what was your feel for the event? What did you think about the whole thing? I think that was one of your was that your first like educational workshop, like a day long workshop like that? Or you can backstroke or freestyle, however you want to swim through it, brother. I knew that. And she was a local 5 staff. Cool. That's cool. Yeah. What a toss. Yeah, yeah. Oh, sweet. Did he send his notes? Awesome. Well, that's cool. I think there's for those that don't know, Labor Notes is a labor organization that is helps unions build democracy in their union. A big piece of where they came from was out of TDU and the Teamsters for a Democratic Union. The model that they used to reform the Teamsters got generalized through labor notes to become a model that any union could use to go through similar reform. And so that's kind of their structure. And they put on workshops and classes. This was their first like West Coast one. So it was cool that we got to participate. And then when I heard that, I was bummed that I didn't get to go. But when I heard that Jake and Alex got to actually participate on the registration side of it and be a part of the kind of the running of it and get to meet and network with all of those people, think about what that can do for not at what cost as a group, but for us as working people. If we can continue to make like those kinds of connections with each other as we move towards like what ultimately may have to happen for workers to get the respect that they deserve, which is a general strike in 2028. And these types of activities, these types of things where we all come together and share our common struggles. You're in a room with 50 plus people that are all there to learn about what to do when your union breaks your heart. One of the work labor notes workshops that we've taken here in our group. So very cool. Very awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that. Thanks for going and repping. Like I said, I was bummed that I didn't get to go. But it was the pictures that were coming out of there. Oliver's, I'll check out Oliver's note document. But when we talked to Oliver on the debrief, like he had some great information, so that was sick. And anytime you have any opportunity to participate in stuff like that, I highly recommend it. It's great. It's a great way to get out there and kind of broaden your horizons. And again, like I said, see that like other people, other working people all over the place, like we're going through it. Like we're all going through it. Yeah, yeah. You got anything else to add? Anything else to go over with that before we move on to the next? Cool. Uh, hey, if they do it next year, let's make it a goal. Cool. Right on. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Moving on. Yesterday, actually, and I'll crank through this one pretty quick, but we'll get the link posted on all the social media links that we talked about before. But yesterday, on the 17th, the Essential Workers for Democracy hosted a strike ready call. It was a national call, and we talked to people, rank and file workers like you and me, from all the locals that I talked about tonight, doing all the things I talked about tonight: strikers, picketers, a bargainer from Local 3000, the people from 700. Talked to them all, and it was awesome. And it is like we've been talking about all night. Really inspiring to see us all coming together, working people all coming together. And so I highly recommend you guys check it out. They actually got it posted up on their YouTube channel today, so pretty fast turnaround. And so if you didn't make it live, don't worry. They're putting them up on YouTube, which is awesome. And so go check out the Essential Workers for Democracy YouTube page and watch the Strike Ready presentation that they put on. If you're interested in that, they had people talk who had gotten all their contract demands together through voting, got a petition signed in their store, 97% of the employees in the store, and then marched it on the boss and delivered it to the boss. Thanks for the notes, Jake. Appreciate it. And we'll put those up in the resources tab also. So if you guys want to find those notes later, we'll just look for Oliver's notes. Uh, but yeah, just a lot of people taking like some serious activity. Gina shared a video on the Facebook page of Local 7 calling a strike in their store. Dude, that gave me chills. They got on a PA. They're like, "This store's on strike." Started blowing their whistle, dude. Everybody was walking out, like dropping their stuff. Like customers were like in there shopping. It wasn't like check everybody out and lock the doors and go. It was like peace, dude. We're out. And that was pretty cool to see. We got to talk to some people who were a part of that action. So check that video out if you would like. Get some updates on what it takes to be strike ready. Another big piece of it was Caitlin did it from Essential Workers for Democracy, did a presentation on those escalating actions and how those help build solidarity and now how those help move you towards what is a strike ready local. And I'm just gonna throw that out there to the group right now. Do you guys feel like Local 8 is strike ready? Can you think of anything that the local union has done to help get us strike ready? Okay, well this friend, you haven't gotten them? Yeah, just to offer to. Where do you go? Where can I get them, bro? I'll come pick them up. Right? You obviously got a lot on your mind. It's not it's not like it's the only thing we're doing right now as a company, as a group of workers. The Rayleigh's button campaign. You'd think you'd have a massive box of them in your car if you actually cared. Um, whatever. I agree with you guys, and I think we can leave it at that. It is we are not. I don't think we're strike ready, and I don't think our union's done anything to help us get strike ready. And I'm not a strike hawk, but I do recognize it as the strongest tool in our toolkit, and I actually believe it's the only thing that matters. Is our ability to withhold our labor, legal or illegally. Like if we all stopped working, it all falls apart. Everything does. 18,000 Costco workers can determine the fate of the entire company. So can we. So I'm ready to strike, but I don't think that our local is strike ready. And I think being strike ready and being very actively strike ready and doing the actions that we talked about at the top of this call, they send a signal to the company that you're strike ready, which, in my opinion, actually reduces your chances of going on strike. The more, like, imagine like a bird, right? Like, or any animal that's like trying to threaten or it scare, like, get another animal to back down, and they're just like puffing up, and they're just like, it's that posturing that says like, don't mess with us. Like, look at how ready we are to crush you, because ultimately, if we stop working, we crush them. Like, there's no way around it. So it's not that you actually have to do it, it's that they have to know that you will. Like, know that you will. And I have a feeling that they know that we won't, or at least think very strongly that we won't. And I have a feeling that they think they can break us before we break them. And that's not being strike ready. So check that out. Think about that. That ties into Jenica's question from earlier. This is weaving together very well, um, and we're gonna move into the back end of this thing and wrap this baby up. Want to show something on here real quick? Labor Notes, check it out. LaborNotes.org. Woo woo. Um, there's a shop. We have a shop. It's very basic. It's very simple. Um, it's just like a Shopify account with like some shirts that I made on Photoshop. There's a coffee cup with the At What Cost logo. I've like ordered some samples of these things so that we can see them and see if they're like good quality and like decide if we want to actually like pursue this or not. But it's merchandise that you can buy that has At What Cost logo on it. Um, Shout out to Jake and the homies down in Sacramento. This is the like original At What Cost logo. You'll notice it on Jake's Discord server avatar and on the Instagram page. But we've got the vintage At What Cost logo shirt, established 2023. So shout out to the OG logo. I thought that was pretty cool, to be honest. I can nerd out on this shit, obviously. So apologies. But buttons, there's an At What Cost button. Look at that. Check it out. Anyways, A, rock the swag, but B, we're going to start building a solidarity fund, which is basically a pile of money that we're going to use to help run a campaign when it becomes time to participate in our local union elections. The only democracy that exists in our local, besides our contract vote, is our ability to run for election. A 300 signature petition asking nicely for positive change in our union doesn't work, unfortunately. So, because nobody's listening that currently has a seat and an ability to make a change, we have to do something about that. And part of that will be finding candidates in our local that would like to run for local office and helping them do that. The idea behind that is that there's a lot of things that can happen. Somebody can run for local president and take Jacques Laval's spot and just completely reform the entire local and move us into an organizing model from a leadership perspective, return the power to the union members, and start building this union democracy that we advocate for here at What Cost. But the other thing that can happen is that people that would like to be involved in that side of things, Jake likes to say, like on the side of where the sausage is made, there's 50% of our e-board, our executive board, has to be rank and file members. So there are rank and file members that are currently sitting on our executive board. But if you remember when we went over our second whistleblower call, a lot of those rank and file e-board members are spouses of retired UFCW staff members that are just sitting in those spots and not doing anything to participate or help build their membership or rank and file power or anything along those lines, allegedly. So with that being said, there's a huge opportunity for anybody that would like to be a part of positive change in Local 8 to run for one of those executive board positions. Now, all of that, all of this, all the stuff that we do, all this website, this store, the Discord server, driving to Oakland, driving to our general membership meetings quarterly, all that stuff has a cost to it. Getting into other stores in Chico, for example, driving down to Chico. I remember OG days went down with brother Tony and brother Nick, and Tony threw me some gas money, and it's like, the reality of the situation is like there's a personal cost to all of this that we've been doing in service of trying to build a strong union. And so in order to help try to alleviate some of that cost for anybody that is interested in being a leader in Local 8, we can start building a solidarity fund. And the reason that we call it a solidarity fund is because that is allegedly what Jacques Laval has. The solidarity fund is where his staff members pay annually, and that annual payment earns them a ticket to the Food and Drug Conference in Las Vegas on our dues money dime, and they get to bring their spouse. That solidarity fund grows when that's contributed into by those members or by those staff members, and when those staff members contribute to it, they get to go to the conference. So that's what's going on there, allegedly. And from the last time we heard, there was almost $500,000 in that solidarity fund. And the purpose of Jacques Laval's solidarity fund, it has a dual purpose. One is to run a campaign against anybody that comes up against him, if it ever were to happen. And the other thing is to make sure that the staff members that are currently there know that there's no chance that they could ever challenge his power because he has access to that pile of gold. So, allegedly. So I figured, why don't we've talked about it a few times. We went through the process of forming a nonprofit committee and deciding not to form a nonprofit and move in that direction, which would have allowed people to make donations to us as an organization to help support our cause. The problem is that if we were to decide to participate, anybody that's actively in this group in our local elections, it creates a bit of a situation when it comes to like endorsing candidates and stuff as a nonprofit organization. So we got to be really careful with that. So we decided as a group to not move in that direction. So with that being said, if anybody wants to sell stickers, sell buttons, sell cookies, sell anything, and contribute to the Solidarity Fund of At What Cost, feel free to do so. This is what I did to start that and to try to generate some motion on that. And just like everything that we do in this group, we'll be 100% transparent about what that looks like. I actually have no idea, like if somebody buys this shirt, like if I get $2 or $10, I have absolutely no idea. So it's all an experiment, and we'll do it like we do everything around here. We'll just talk about it and see if it's something we want to pursue or something we want to kill. And I throw that challenge out to everybody out there. If this is something that you would like to participate in, the purpose behind it is to try to build up our own war chest for what could be coming up next December, which is a potential election in our local elections here in UFCW Local 8. I don't know if you guys sorry, what's that? Yeah, this has a link, and I'll throw the link to the store in the Discord chat right now. Yeah, so actually, what I did was, because you know how stuff it gets lost in there easily. I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Sorry about that. Up at the top, where the contact, announcements, and resources channels are in information, there is a channel that says the shop, and it has that link. So if anybody's ever looking for it, they should be able to find it there. Oh, don't worry about that one. I hope that one makes us $1 million. It's do you So from the union perspective, Luigi's a very famous brother. He's one of the Mario brothers, and we're all siblings here, brothers and sisters. So the idea of, like, if I was gonna go on strike, I'd like there to be 100 Luigis with me. That's one way to look at it. But ultimately, it's a cheap shirt that I hope sells a million shirts. It pro it it probably is, but don't think too deep on it. We'll talk more on the not recorded portion. There's also in the bottom corner, because I've been talking with our brothers and sisters in 700, their group that they started, which is kind of badass. It's called, I think they're calling it Our Local 700, and Our stands for Organized, United, and Ready. And so that's pretty cool. So they have this Our Contract, Our Local, Our Union shirt that they can purchase if they would like to, and support our contract, our election fight over here. Which is also, I'm pretty sure I did it in like all the descriptions of these items, but it does say that that's what's going on there. So full transparency, like I said, and we'll talk about, like, right now, you can see here 42 people have checked out the shop so far, and nobody's bought anything. And all the stuff that I've purchased is coming from the site as like a sample item. And so I actually tried to order something off of the site to generate a sale, and it's like you're the person that owns the store. Like, it put up an error, and it was like you're selling it to yourself, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I ordered production samples, and I'll come around and we'll check those out, and obviously I'll give them away to people out there. But we'll check them out and see if they're cool, if we like them, and go from there. Does anybody have any questions about that specifically before we move on? That was just a little quick one that I threw together. But that being said, dude, if you like have Photoshop skills or graphic design skills or anything, and you want to like make something that we can post on here that is like your design, that would be pretty awesome too. So hit me up if that's something that you're interested in and you're willing to contribute, like, in that way, because that's another way that that would actually be kind of cool, and I would be more than happy to credit, like, the people who make those as the rank and file, members from store XYZ. That's pretty badass. I just thought of that. But that would be pretty cool. So anyways, that's the shop. That's the At What Cost shop. Does anybody have any questions about that? I'll check. There's a ton of stuff. There's a ton of stuff. Mouse pads and oh, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Okay. I like that. Let's move on. This is just we're wrapping this thing up. We got two quick hits and then we'll close it out. Thank you to everybody who's been hanging out with us so far. Breaking news. Found out today, NorCal salaried managers are getting pulled to Colorado to work the strike. We got this confirmed. I initially saw a email from UFCW 7 that leaked out from the .com manager, basically emailing other area .com managers to like come to the money zone, get paid all this money, get unlimited overtime, get free meals, stay in the Hilton, and then also side bonus, you get to work with me because I'm gonna be there too. And I'm like, you think that's a bonus, bro? Like, no wonder this is such a problem. And then the response to that email was like, actually, we're gonna send salary managers wave one. This won't happen until wave two. And so that leaked out, and sure as stuff, we started hearing about managers in our area getting asked to volunteer to go to Colorado. It's three managers per district, from what I understood. There was a conference call that was held where that was requested. Today, some messages were sent out because not enough people had volunteered. We got confirmation that the Corning store director is being sent, which is a local store to us here, about 40 minutes south of where I live, or about the 40 minutes south of the Anderson store. Um, so that store director is flying to Colorado to work the striking stores. I got a phone call from somebody who's in the Discord server but didn't want to put anything in writing to my to my store, like the receiver office phone, which I thought was pretty funny. But they wanted to let me know that they had also confirmed with their manager that that was happening and that had existed, or that that had taken place, and that they had been asked to go but had declined. So heads up, that's happening. The one thing that kind of like worries me a little bit about that, I guess I would say, is that remember how we spent all night talking about how we're this like pocket of peace right in the center of California, this super highly dense, like almost all the Safeways are right here in our area that's not on strike right now. That's a lot of employees that you can pull to striking stores. If we were to find out, or if we were to ever get the inclination, or if it ever felt like that was intentional, like we weren't participating so that like cattle we can be drawn from to help keep the employee pools, these other stores working while they did their strikes and did their things, that would be very infuriating. Right now it's just salaried managers, so we'll see what happens. But you never, if they do it, if they can't force them. Yes, and what you can do, you can be a scab if you want. And so that's actually, and people do that, um, especially when the company pays to fly them away from anybody who recognizes them. You go scab at another store, um, but they can't, like Tony just said in the chat, they can't make you cross the picket line. So it would be volunteers, which you know takes away the only excuse I would let them have. uh, it would be their active decision to go work the strike, and people did that actually. Famously, our union rep before our current union rep was a scab. He flew to Southern California to work the strikes from Northern California. So shout out to scab rep. Pretty interesting, I thought. Does anybody have any questions about that or any comments? Yeah, right. No kidding. Yeah, seriously. Like and you know what? I was like actually talking Tony to your point about character and stuff. Like I was thinking about like if I wasn't in management still, I'd be scabbing, dude, or I'd be running a scab crew. And so to honestly like to be in the position that I'm in now and to be doing what I'm doing now with all of you guys versus like having to do that, like it's pretty like revelatory in terms of like, oh my god, I was like in a cult almost, like I was in the, like we get accused of brainwashing or whatever, but it's like I was on the wrong side of history. I was on the wrong side of the thing for a long time, and I feel it. I feel it right now. I feel very relieved that I don't have to do that. I'm not being asked to do that. Um, don't feel compelled to do that. Like, don't feel this weird sense of like superiority to the workers that are trying to earn a living wage. Uh, yeah, I can imagine what these managers or salaried managers are saying at the Hilton at the bar while they're getting hammered every night while the workers are out on strike. And I'm really glad to say I'm not a part of that, you know? So your character and your integrity, they're all you have. And in these moments, they mean a lot. So, think about that when you think about decisions that you might have to make regarding supporting your siblings in the areas around you. Good question there. Good question. Anybody else got anything they want to add to that one before we jump on? We're wrapping this baby up. This next one, dude, just a real quick shout out to the at what cost, power, and action. The NorCal wage theft situation has been atrocious. Fully recognized by the union, fully recognized by the company, fully spilled in emails. But we have been relentless in helping people who have come to us get in contact with the right people, send the right emails, contact HR, contact labor relations, call the help desk again, following all the steps, verifying the date of grievances being filed by the union using the excuse that we already have a group grievance filed. I don't want a group grievance, I want an individual grievance, and forcing those steps. And we have had 2 employees successfully get their back pay. And this is outside of those, this is separate responses from individual HR people saying, here's the situation, we found the problem, here's what we're doing to correct it, it'll be on this date, here comes your back pay. We are now watching those checks to make sure that they're not taxed as a gift check or a bonus check. And if they are, we're going to address that situation as well. That's the power of all of us coming together. Jake made a really good point the other night to me when we were talking about it, and it's something that we take for granted. But seeing it unfold in the retirement chat the other day, it just gets reinforced again and again and again. And it's this idea that, like, it's not the Discord server, right? It's not at what cost. It's not that we made this group. It's that workers are using the platform to help each other. People have a question and they're getting answers. And they're not just getting an answer, like it's a discussion, right? Because unfortunately, a lot of times we have to find the answer and we're going based on what we've heard, what we've always been told. Might ask around our store, hear 3 different things. So we're throwing all 3 different things in the chat, looking up, sending emails to the reps or the UFCW, texting our rep if we have to, and then bringing that information back to each other. Doesn't matter if you're doing it in WhatsApp, doesn't matter if you're doing it on Facebook, Instagram, the Discord server. It's this idea that collectively we can solve like any problem. A lot of times we feel these like insurmountable obstacles. A lot of them are being created by like our actual people that we're paying to remove those obstacles out of our way. But we have the power to overcome that, and we're doing that. We're doing it every day. That's at what cost, power in action. And it's been really cool and inspiring to see. I encourage those of you out there to not use this group and these people who have dedicated themselves to participating as a service. That's not the intention. The intention is for you to get in and participate and plug in and find out what you have to add to the group to make it even stronger. That's what it's missing, is what you have to bring to the table. If you're listening to this and you're not here, if you're not actively in the Discord right now or watching on YouTube or even watching this later down the road, if you're using this as an information receptor to just receive, but you're not giving, then we're not as strong as we could be. And I'm not saying to give money. I'm not saying to give your life. I'm not saying to be an absolute fanatic like some of us are. Everybody has something to give. Don't forget, this microphone I'm talking into, was a gift from a person who told me that not all of us are fighters, but we all have something to give. And I think about that a lot because um, it really changed my perspective in terms of like thinking that people weren't being loud enough. Like when my phone rang in my office, first of all, I thought it was my boss calling, and I was like, "Oh crap, this is lame." And then when I found out it was like a brother from another store, I was like, "Oh, dude, this is cool. This is so that kind of stuff is like so cool. It fills my tank. It's so exciting." So we're doing it. Uh, but when I say that, I mean like you guys, like people, are like out there like doing this. So keep doing that and think about what you have to offer to the group, and then come give it, because I guarantee you, like what you'll get out of it is way more. And that's been really cool to be a part of. So thank you to everybody that's been a part of it so far. Actually, brother Tony, I don't know if you can see me, but I wore the unofficial UFCW Local 8 Union Hall T-shirt. This was our first swag that we made almost 1 year ago, anniversary of our Discord server. But it has been awesome to see. So shout out to everybody there. Let's use that power to keep helping people get their paychecks corrected. And trust me, that locks people in for sure. It's like, yo, you fixed my money. It's like, all right, cool. I'll see you at the practice picket. Oh, show. All right. Anybody got any questions about that or anything to add to that little At What Cost Love Fest? All right, we're wrapping it up. We're out of here. We've got upcoming events. Basketball still occurring. 6 o'clock, Enterprise Park. It's like 5 to 8 people each week that are out there. I'm hoping for another store to show up soon. A lot of people don't play basketball, and my response to that is that's why there's grass around it. Come hang out and just chill, see what's going on, and build some solidarity. It's like that group of people that are playing, like I know that they'll stick together when it comes time to make a decision. So that's been awesome. Basketball's still happening Friday night, 6 o'clock. 1954 has a team and has challenged 1826 and 273 to get a team together, and let's have a little tournament and see what's up. Also, we're doing something a little different for our Sunday meetup, which is coming up this Sunday, the 22nd, third Sunday of every month. We had to move it this time because of Father's Day, so we're on the fourth Sunday. But typically, third Sunday of every month, we're meeting up in person, just doing something fun, hanging out, talking shop, and building solidarity in that way. And shout out to Gina for helping set this up. I don't know if we have anything set up officially, but helping get this organized. We are going to be at Country Bowl in Reading on June 22nd. Is that at 1:30, Gina? Oh, sweet. Dutch means bring your money too. So just like we talked about, the Solidarity Fund is currently at $0 with no orders completed. So we will not be able to fund your bowling, but we will be able to talk about getting strike ready. I put a flyer. I put a flyer together. Check it out. Get strike ready at Country Bowl. Do you get to play on words, guys? Strike, bowling, bowling, strike. Yeah, I was racking my brain. And then I was all self conscious about the font. Uh, Janica's got me all font and self conscious now. But cut, cut, Country Bowl is happening, and this flyer is now available. It's in the hall. This is black and white, so it's printer friendly. It's got our At What Cost logo, and it's got the QR code that takes you to the master page, which we're going to talk about here in just 1 second as we wrap this thing up. But it's right around the corner. I don't know why I'm waiting so long to put these together. That's my bad. I should have done it the day you let me know that this was happening. Um, but if we can get it out to people, maybe we can get some new faces to show up and hang out and see what's going on. It would be nice to see some new people, but I'm looking forward to seeing the same old crew. If that's who shows up, I'm more than happy to keep hanging out with everybody that's doing this third Sunday thing. So cool there. And speaking of that, actually, just real quick, Jake and his team down in Sacramento had a meetup, and I don't want to pass that over. I forgot to put it in the agenda, but it just hit me that you guys hung out down in Sacramento, and you guys kind of had like a little pub night and kicked it. And how'd that go, Jake? Wow, cool. Hey, keep dipping your toes in, Oliver. Every time you do, you add value, bro. So, whenever you're ready, we will be here, sir. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for going and getting us our notes and bringing them back. That's sweet. Uh, I know, dude. Oliver's awesome, man. Jenica, pass this on to Oliver. Jake, Jenica said we miss Oliver. Um, Anyways, if anybody wants to help spread those flyers out in the North stores, and obviously you guys down in Sac are more than welcome to join. But we'll be bowling up here at Country Bowl this Sunday, right around the corner, and the QR code is on there. Now, this is the new QR code. I'll show you guys right now. We've got 64 scans on this new code. What I was talking about earlier in the call about some weird activity is this like 38% that's coming out of Sacramento. Um Jake and I talked about it a little bit, and like not too much activity's been going on in Sacramento with this QR code specifically being printed. So, always kind of unique to see. High local 8 office. It's nice to see you. Anyways, 64 scans on the QR code. I want to show you where it takes you for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, and why it's like it's a really good QR code, and we have the link also in the Discord server. But when you scan that QR code, it takes you to this page, and I'm not sure if everybody who's in the Discord has seen this, but this is the yeah, dude. Jenica says, "Welcome, local aid office, to what solidarity looks like." That's hilarious. Second that. But it brings you to this master page here for at what cost. It gives everybody a little idea of what it is that we're all about. Kind of tells you what our goal is, what our mission is, welcomes everybody on board, and then it has a link to all of our social media contacts, all of our information, all of our the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and the contact form. So this thing is like the bee's knees, dude, and all these links work. It super simple. I've got it up on the wall, the flyer that we made a few weeks ago. I've got it up on the wall at my work, and I have seen a couple people just grab their phone and scan it, and then it's like, oh, it's like a menu, right? It's like, oh, I have Instagram. Oh, I have, and they pick the one that they wanted on, and so highly recommend. If you want the QR code, let me know, and I'll send you just the image file of the QR code so you can save it as a screenshot on your phone, which if you open that on your phone and then hold your phone out for somebody, they can scan it right off your phone and get here. You don't have to print a flyer. But you can also print the flyers that we made, or you can just send the direct link. This direct link, I'll copy it and put it in the chat right now. This direct link will take you to that page, which then serves up the menu. So I wanted to change this heads up where it says "find me" on. Like, I wanted to change "me" to "us," but there's no way for me to customize this that I could find on this like QR thing. And I think the intention of this is for like a social media influencer, somebody that was like pumping all their personal stuff. So I get it, but just a heads up, I didn't rule. I wanted that to be a collective, like find us on all these pages. But I do think that's really badass. So check that out. Share that. That's that at what cost link. That's our new way to start bringing people in and gives a one-stop shop for all of our social media stuff. So anyway, that's it for that. That's the events that we've got going on. Looking forward to future events as they come up. I think that we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We'll keep meeting up. If things heat up with with contracts and we start moving into something like a ULP strike situation, we'll probably start firing off like weekly meetings, or even depending on how fast things are moving, even twice a week. So, stay tuned for that. But the idea would be that, like, if things start changing quickly, we'll start trying to be there sooner to help each other get through those moments. Like the idea of getting a tentative agreement signed and having to kind of parse through whether it's a good deal or a bad deal with a short amount of time is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to roll into these closing comments, and then we'll see if anybody else has got anything to add, and we will call it a night. It's been a long one. I apologize. There's a lot of stuff going on. Don't worry. The description will be fully time-stamped, so if you know, need to find something specifically, you can easily. That being said, if you miss any previous meetings and you're like, dude, I don't want to listen to 3-4 hours of previous meetings, just check the timestamps. If there's stuff in there that you are interested in, you can get right to it and then dip out. It's super convenient. And I've been using Gemini, Google AI, to create those timestamps for me. So hours and hours and hours saved from having to do that myself. So heads up, use that. I think it's beneficial. And like I said earlier, there's some people that think this contract negotiation that we're going through could stretch out for a year or longer. And I just mean like rumors on the shop floor. I don't mean some people like our local leadership or anybody like that. I just people are conditioned to believe that there's that dragging feet and dragging this on is just par for the course. And because there's been contracts that have gone on for more than a year without ratification, that the possibility that this one does the same is on the table. And I would ask why. Why would we accept that? If you think that we don't have a say in the way that this plays out, I encourage you to start paying closer attention to what's going on. Worker power is real. Worker power is actually happening. We spent a majority of this call talking about worker power happening, not just in grocery, but here, like all around us. Like you can watch it live in the locals that are surrounding us and posting it on all their social medias. You can watch it live, like here in this room. You're watching it live right now. Like this is worker power. And if you're here in this room and you're hearing this message, you're a part of that power, especially if you can help get the message to your workers, to your coworkers, because that's what it depends on. It's not a person, it's not people power, it's not uh, a sick Discord server where you can type a question and it responds to you as if it were AI and then you never have to interact with it again. That's not worker power. It needs the workers. You've seen it throughout this meeting. All the power that we talked about, the true power that we talked about, it came from workers taking initiative and actively doing things to help improve their lives and their working conditions through collective action. Just like this is collective action. At what cost is the born of collective action. If there wasn't anybody here, it wouldn't exist, right? That's what we can do. That's what we're capable of. Our voices, your voice, it matters. Add it wherever you can. We talked about it numerous times. Send the emails to info@ufcw8.org. This is your union. Don't be scared of asking questions of it. These are fair questions. You're a reasonable person. Nobody's yelling. You would just like to know why we haven't taken a ULP strike vote. And 100 of us have that question, so they need to receive 100 emails because that's the model they've created. The way to avoid that would be to tell us ahead of time. Or you want to do this one better? Let us in the room. Speak in the comments of this video, speak in the chat of the Discord server, answer your brothers and sisters when they have questions or problems or need support with something that they've got going on in their workplace, like the foundation of this group was built upon. Speak at the general membership meetings. Speak with your vote when the contract comes up. Speak to your shop steward about what you need from them. Speak to your rep about what your expectations are for your union. And then join your coworkers in making that a reality. The power lies in all of us. Solidarity with everybody who made it this far. We can do this. Does anybody have anything else they would like to add before we close out our 1 year 17th biweekly Discord meeting. That's a wrap. We're signing out. Thanks for everybody who's watching on YouTube. We're stopping the stream. Thank you. Goodbye. And we will do this again in 2 weeks on Wednesday. Every other Wednesday, 8 p.m. You can find us. I just realized right now that I deleted that line that Gina had me put on before I closed mic. But that'll come back. Our next meeting will be on July 2nd. Think about that. We meet again on July 2nd. We could be in an entirely different working universe 2 days before the 4th of July. Or we can be in the exact same universe and have squandered probably the largest bargaining leverage we had for the entire summer until the backside of it on Memorial Day. Crazy. Crazy. All right, guys. That's a wrap. At Wakasa signing off. Thank you for stopping by.